Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Redcat Live. If you are a ongoing follower, thank you for joining us again. And if this is your first time here, welcome. This is Redcat Live, where we tend to talk a little bit, or a lot of it, mainly stuff about Redcat racing. So I kind of want to state the obvious right now. For a lot of folks, you're actually hopefully able to see us for the very first time, aside from this morning's test, on multiple platforms. So you should be able to now find our live feed as it's happening on both YouTube Live as well as Facebook Live. I hope, I'm like over here like, I hope it's working. But I got a special guest with us today, none other than Shane. Shane is one of our awesome engineers here that puts in a lot of work behind the scenes, and I brought him in to give you guys all of the details. He's going to spill his guts. He's going to tell us every project that he has that he's currently working on, and he can't get in trouble because it's on me.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's usually the way it rolls around here, right? Let me see. Check one. Let me turn that down just a hair. Perfect. I see someone shouting out from YouTube as well and Facebook. So that means that we're obviously streaming on both locations. So I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. Let's drop some what's ups to people. Fish and Bill, you're back again, brother. Thank you so much. Yes, we're going to be talking about some Marksmans a little bit today. Primarily talking about some things that a lot of you guys already know about that have been following the Marksman page for some time, and for a lot of folks that we've noticed have been an influx in purchasing Marksmans. We also wanted to just kind of remind you guys of a cool way to obtain a little more steering radius from your actual vehicles. So we know that any vehicle out of the box is set a certain way, but it's always awesome and nice when we can expand a little bit more, right? Give you guys a little bit more within reason, right? So one of the modifications that we're going to do today is going to be what we call the steering mod. It's going to allow for a little bit more steering angle, and it's actually a very easy thing to do. So without further ado, let's say what's up, man. Felix Delgadillo, what's going on, brother? And John Pignon, what's good, man? Thank you for coming back again. David Crosby, Brendan Armstrong's in the house. Keeping the arms strong, Holmes. Man, Wheels Down RC, thank you so much for joining from YouTube, brother. Thank you. Hey, thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. You know, I've been working on my manly figure, my dad bod. I've been laying off the tacos for the last month, trying to shed a little bit of LBs in preparation for tamale season coming up. So, you know, I'm a little excited. I'm going to switch it up from tacos to tamales because, you know, your boy's got to eat the masa, you know. What's going on for Broken Arrow? Thank you so much, Gilbert, for stopping by. Rick, how you doing? David Crosby, thank you so much for stopping by. He says, you want better differentials for the shredder. We'll definitely talk about that in a future episode, see what we can do with that. RC Mobile Crawlers, thank you so much for stopping by all the way from Columbia, Tennessee. Let's see. Dozer Boy, RC. Greetings from New Mexico. I love it, man. Welcome. Louis Alcala, Tony Gutierrez. Man, we got all the cool, dope people. Even Malo's in here. Malo, what's going on, brother? Luis Luna. Tony Gutierrez repping San Diego. I love it. I love it. Ethan's in the house. God, man, so many great folks are joining us here today. I love it. When are we going to phase out the Phillips screws on the drift cars? Well, you have to understand that the drift car itself, the STK, is a very basic car, and it's going to come with basic hardware to maintain that price point that we've been seeing on that product. So you may not see much of a change in that vehicle in the near future, unfortunately. And Fishing Bill, man, I'm always down for tacos, but I got to get ready, you know. Someone says they love their OG Kaiju. Oh, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, guys, you know, a lot of the basis for today's episode is a lot of hype. If you're coming in and you're part of the crawler scene, trying to get some information, thank you for stopping by. If you're part of the lowrider scene, don't go too far, because next week we're going to have an awesome show, and it's going to be at a specific time. 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're actually going to have none other than Jevries live on the show. We're going to be able to pick his brain, talk to him, interview him, so that you guys can ask him questions yourselves and potentially see something really cool that might be here or not. I don't know. So, Shane,
Yep.
bro, thank you for coming on the show, bro.
Thanks for inviting me.
So my mannequin here, he's been so quiet, but he's kind of like the Vanna White, right? He has some stuff in front of him. But tell us a little bit about what we're going to be doing with the Marksman. Well, actually, first of all, why don't you share with the folks who you are and how you kind of got into the field of RC?
So I'm one of the, I guess, newer engineers here. Been here like a year and a half, so it's really not newer. I've been working on a lot of stuff which you guys won't see for a while. But yeah, got an RC by getting a crawler probably 10 years ago at this point, and I've been doing almost everything since.
Right, you're really heavy into a lot of aspects of the RC, not just the crawler scene, but I've actually crawled with you.
Yeah.
And you're probably one of the few people I've crawled with lately that can actually give me a run for my money. And I like that because you and I kind of tend to kind of feed off of each other when we hit the rock. So, but there's also some other stuff that you like to get into and you are involved in as well. Can you share with us any other passions within the RC hobby that you have?
Yeah, so I do a lot of rear wheel drive drifting. Something it's almost like the crawlers to where it's like something really scale, which is something I really like. You're not going like 60 miles an hour jumping stuff, but it's cool to like look realistic.
I gotta ask, bro, how many drift cars do you own?
2, surprisingly.
Just 2?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Well, I mean, I would have been easily like this one's got like 10 or 12
no.
easily. Okay.
2 that are mine at least.
Right. So is the drifting scene pretty big here in Arizona for you guys?
It's pretty decent. It's definitely growing.
I love that. I think anytime when you talk about any aspects of the hobby where one can enjoy more so, it's always fun, right? To get people and get them involved in any venue. So like with no prep for me, it's like someone had to say, hey, dude, you should try no prep. And, I tried it. And then now you're like, try a drift car. And I'm like, I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anything with the remote, I think it's always fun, If any of you guys are drift fans out there, man, make sure you drop a thumbs up for me in the chat. I love to see it. And it's Shane and the E is silent, I heard, right?
Usually it is.
Right. Robert Lawrence loves his Gen 8. I love it, man. I appreciate you for that. Thank you so much, bro. All right. So without further ado, tell us a little bit about the Marksman. You had the pleasure of working on this mod specifically that we're going to highlight today. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of you folks that know, the Marksman is a great truck. It's a 1/8 scale platform vehicle, comes with standard 2.2s, licensed Interco tires. It comes with a Hobby Wing 1080 waterproofed ESC, and I believe a 13-turn Holmes Hobbies Crawlmaster motor. It does have a 1/8 output shaft on the motor itself, and it's just a stout truck all in all. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of folks that have been following the Gen 8. They know that it's a predecessor with some parts being reconfigured and reused out of the Wendigo originally, but it has been an amazing vehicle right out of the box. The only thing that a couple folks have always mentioned is the want for a little more steering, and I agree. I think we all can benefit from a little more steering, and I'm sure you can, as a crawler guy yourself, see the benefit in getting more, but there's also such thing as too much.
Yeah.
Right?
There's definitely like, with the universals, you can definitely go too far, and then the universals will fail, and you really don't want that, especially if you're hiking an hour to go crawling.
Right. Then you're hauling around a 10-pound rig, right? So, you were able to find a happy medium or a spot where you can actually shed some degrees or add some degrees in your steering. Can you kind of talk us through, and what I can do is I'll show you guys a quick photo slide, and maybe you can walk them through what they're seeing.
So first up, this is a side of a Marksman axle, pretty much, and you can see there's a button head on the side that contacts the tie rod. Basically what we're going to do is take that out. Well, you want to take your tie rod off first so you can access the screw. And then you're going to want to take the screw out. We're going to countersink the hole with just a regular drill bit instead of a fancy countersink bit. And then put a M3x6 bolt back in there, and then you should be good to go.
So as you guys can see here, this is just a process of the removal and installation that we're doing here by removing, as you mentioned, the tie rod, exposing the actual location where we need to countersink to be able to get some more degrees, right? A button head screw is going to add a little more spacing, which doesn't allow the turn radius to the tie rod to touch the axle as close as we like to get some extra turn radius. So by drilling and countersinking and then using a flathead screw, which we recommend a 3mm by 6mm length, hex, that would give you guys now a flush radius that would give you guys a couple more degrees as far as turn radius. Tony, yes, with Redcat tools if possible. Yeah, so, so it's very simple in that sense. And a lot of folks that buy the vehicle are like, hey, why didn't it come that way? Well, it was kind of a slight overseen thing, but it's not the first time that we've seen this happen within the market of RCs in general. If a lot of you guys are longtime crawler fans that have been following and are fanboys of the other brands that are out there, a lot of you know that when a first version of a truck came out, we had to go above and beyond to get crazy, steering radiuses. I'll give you guys an example. There's a said brand that I ran for a long time where we've had to cut off the ends of the axle housings, install brass tubes to extend the axle knuckles out a little bit more, and then using a different set of stainless steel links to obtain a more radical steering angle. And I'm not going to get into, the specifics of the brand or anything like that, but just know that sometimes some of these things can happen. And as enthusiasts and fans of the hobby, we're always trying to find solutions, right? We're always trying to find ways to make it a little bit better and a little bit more enjoyable. So for a lot of you guys out there that might feel like, hey, that's kind of big to do. You're going to take a drill bit to a brand new axle. That's kind of scary. It's not. It's actually really simple. Just like we've shown you guys numerous times on how to cut bodies in the past that you never felt that you potentially could do, but then we did a video of it here live, and I start seeing a lot of you guys sharing a lot of amazing pictures of your builds. Tony Gutierrez in there, yeah, everyone knows, the brand and the model that I'm speaking of, and I, for one, was one of the very first people to perform this modification when it really was in its evolution of happening. I've been in the crawling scene for just a little bit over 12 years total, nonstop, and it's the growing pains of wanting to get more out of performance out of your vehicle. So I come from a field of RC that it's okay to want to do more and be a little venturous in finding ways to make your ride a little better and more better performance. So, let's, with you guys watching, let's show them. We have an axle here. We actually went ahead, instead of bringing a whole truck in, where you're not going to be able to see the body because of the green screen, we said, you know what, we're just going to bring the axle in. It'll be easier to maneuver with the camera so you guys can see it. But you guys can see firsthand. We'll do one side so you guys can see just how easy it is. So if you felt scared or nervous about wanting to do it yourself, please don't. It's actually really simple and super easy to do. The hardware you can find at your local Ace Hardware. A lot of them have small scale stuff. You can order some screws, honestly, from online. There's a lot of sources to order from. Or visit your local hobby shop. A lot of them will have screws of this size available. So I'm going to share another screen here really quick. Let me double check this the comments. Make sure I'm not missing anyone. Will there be any upgrades for the Gen 7 SUV crawler? There's a lot of upgrades already out there that you can find for it, but we ourselves are not offering anything extensive at this point. Fishing Bill says the Marksman is extremely underrated, man. I agree with you 100%. It's one of my favorite trucks at this time, and I love crawling it, Let me double check here. Fishing Bill, I agree. Modifications are the fun part of hobby, right? The RC hobby and enjoying it. So, man, I love that. Man, I love to visit Tennessee, RC mobile crawlers, man. I really wish one day I could, man. That'd be awesome. Brandon Winchester, I run 108 millimeter springs with a stock Gen 8 shocks with 35 weight and oil, and it makes the Gen 8 sit nice. I love it. I personally love doing a 30 weight in the front, and I usually tend to go to a 45, even 55 weight in the rear on the Marksman and the Gen 8. It's been kind of my happy go-to. And you're going to find that the way you drive kind of changes everything. So, Aaron Matheson, yes, we have a first aid kit available, and we also have our resident EMT specialist in the room next door. So all I have to do is just hit this wall. They'll come in with ambulance and they'll take him away. So, Shane, let's change screens here for a little bit, man, and let's share with the folks what it takes to do this mod. This very simple mod. Let's go over the hardware first, really quick. Let's show them what they're working with.
So, first couple things you'll need. We need these cutters just because the axle kit's in a box and they're zip tied in. You'll need pliers of some sort to grab onto the nut, or you can use a fancy wrench if you got one.
That's my fancy wrench.
And then we've got a 2mm drill bit, 2mm hex tip to take apart the rest of the axle, and I believe this is a 6mm drill. Without having a countersink bit, you really don't need anything exact. 6 mil is about the same size as the bolt head, so it'll work pretty well.
Perfect. So you guys can see we got a little overhead camera action going on right here, so we'll definitely show you guys how to do this. I guess last time that we were cutting a body live on the air, I came really close to cutting off one of my digits, and the owner felt like, you know what, it was too much of an insurance risk, and he needed to protect me. So I was able to bring in the mad scientist, mad scientist, to come in and help out, you know. So I appreciate you, putting yourself in danger.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I know my fans want to continue coming by and seeing me. I don't want to hurt myself, right? She was like, Oscar, you fancy.
Yeah, I don't have one of these wrenches.
So. Dude, shout out to Crawford Cure, man. I have every year from, I think, 2016 to 21. So again, guys, this is the same axle that is on the Marksman, the TC8 Marksman. Again, it's an 8-scale crawler. And from what you guys can see there, we just wanted to have it separate for you guys, so that makes it kind of easier to see what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish here today.
So, all right, so now we're just going to take the tie rod out.
Javier, what's going on, brother? Foamy, what's going on? Yes, got to protect the beard at all costs. You know, that's why they don't let me near any fires. There's so much product in this thing, dude. I'm telling you, it would just like nuclear bomb just.
And since we're only doing one side, I'm just going to take off one end. You would normally just take off the other side to do both.
Brandon Smith, what's going on? Frank Rains, RC Crawlers in the house. I love it, man. I love it. Thank you for stopping by, bro. So at this point, you can actually raise that up. Show them really quick. You removed the tie rod, right? The steering rod. You went ahead and removed the button head screw. If you put your hand on it. Here, let me see that. Yeah. The screw. Yep. Which one is it? That one?
Yep.
You guys can see, we'll show them a quick difference of what we're trying to accomplish, but
that might be hard to see.
Oh, I'm in front of the camera. So, guys, so you see the button head screw there, right? It's kind of rounded on the top there, right? We're going to use a flat countersunk screw in its place. But before we can do that, Shane's going to have to take off a little bit of material to get that screw to sit inside of it. Now, take into consideration, from what I believe you told me, it does not hold structural integrity, right?
Yeah, so it's not like a strength point to get rid of this. It's been tested quite a bit, and we've had no failures based on it. So you can realistically just put a set screw in there if you want. You don't need to put like a countersunk like we are, but a countersunk just looks nicer.
Yeah, a lot of folks, they can remove the material and use a button head, but I agree with you. I think the flat side of that screw just kind of gives you a nice, sleek profile, like the ones you guys saw in the pictures as well. So, all right, should I hide? I don't know.
We should be good.
I'm a little scared.
I didn't try this beforehand, so we'll see how this works. That's probably it.
Literally just a little kiss of the drill bit.
That should be it.
If you hold your hand underneath it, it'll focus. There you go. See how it's it's now countersunk just enough to be able to fit that that new screw in.
Yeah, and that was like, half a second. You don't want it to it'll start pulling down in after like a second or two. So you just want to make sure it doesn't go past that.
Hey, appreciate that, Fishing Bill. I noticed a lot of folks purchasing Marksmans lately, and I just kind of wanted to make sure that we went over this. We went over this, I think, when we initially dropped the Marksman, but I kind of just wanted to bring it back up and see how. Yeah, there you go. See, now it's flush, like right there. It's nice and flush, and that's what you want, right? So now turn that knuckle in and show them where it lands. There you go. See, so now it sits flush, where before it would have the button head pushing it out more. I have actually removed more material and then used a flathead screw in there. But again, I took too much off, and what you're gonna notice, if you go too far of removing material, you're gonna start seeing the natural walking of the shaft. It'll start bouncing on you when the universal is at its maxing point. At that point, user beware. And again, this modification is user beware, right? So keep that in mind when you're doing this, guys. Billy Ray, what's up, man? How can this episode 64 not be about 64s? We'll talk about 64s in a bit. Stick around, Billy, man. Hang out with us, brother. See, so now when you turn in, you should have a lot more steering angle because you don't have that button head keeping the steering from binding up, right? Mm-hmm. So again, some folks I've seen use a Dremel and actually remove a little bit more of the actual plastic. If you remove more, you can actually cause damage to the universals. So keep that in mind. You don't want to overstress them out. You don't want to overclock them. But this will at least give you guys a little more steering angle and make your ride a little more enjoyable out of the box. Is the screw required with 3 screws holding the bearings? Tony, you may have to take some pictures, brother, and send them to me, and I can show him what you mean.
Yeah, are you talking about this screw technically? Because this one doesn't hold the bearing in.
Right, that one in essence just keeps the outer, what would you call that?
The C-hub.
Yeah, the C-hub attached to the actual shaft itself. How about shaving the button plastic? And as I mentioned, I've done that before, and you can do that. And you can even gain another 10 degrees at most after that. But know that at that point you are stressing the universals out, and you might get a little bit of premature wear to them. Or just a little more wear in general, a lot faster than you'd like to see. So don't keep that in mind. If you can do that if you want, but no, I'm not going to stand behind you on that if you break something. I just want to make sure you guys know that. If you turn the drill in reverse mode, it won't drill all the way in. Hey, that's a good.
That's fair.
That's fair, man. RC Mobile Crawlers, thank you for that tip, man. That's awesome. See, that's what I love about the community. I got community members inside of here, and they're all, eagerly sharing tips of the trade as well. So I appreciate that. My friend removed his screws on the C-hubs.
Yeah, so that's what we were saying before. Technically, you could just get rid of the screw. It's not supporting realistically too much. You could put a set screw in there if you really want to, but countersinking and putting the flathead in there just looks a little nicer.
Right. I mean, think about it. If you're playing in the dirt and the mud, right, and you have an exposed hole, or if you're driving through water, that's just going to be an entry point into the axle itself. Where if you don't have enough marine grease packed in there, you're going to start again. You're aching for premature wear and tear on your bearings and your other components. If you're like me, every time I go out and crawl and beat up on my rigs, I love taking them apart, cleaning things up. If I'm crawling in a place that's really wet and I'm getting mud and soot and water everywhere, well, first of all, my axles are full of marine grease, so that's ideal. But I like to go through things, right, and not just let things sit there and rust away. So keep that in mind, guys, as well. Danny, what's going on? Danny's in the house. I changed the rod ends with RPMs and an angle to keep the clearance between the links and axle. That's actually not a bad idea either. Good call. Getting some paths there. Wait a second. I changed the rods with RPMs. Wait, I'm reading two different things at the same time. Call my brother. How are you doing over there? And they were getting on some passers. Just wondering. Brandon, you never take my advice. I love it. What advice did I take, bro? YouTube stream is way better than Facebook stream. Hey, that's what's up, Matt Jackson. Appreciate that. Guys, you know, the reality is that we're moving everything. We're not moving. We're going to keep everything going on Facebook, but we want to expand. And the expansion of Redcat is to be on as many social platforms as we can at one time. So this week was the very first time that we beta tested being on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. So far, it seems to be successful, and this is in preparation for a great big show next week. You 64 guys, you RC lowrider guys that are in here that are telling me and saying, dude, why isn't this about 64s? Well, guess what? It's going to be about RC lowriders right now, because we're going to shift gears now that you guys know what to do with this bad boy and how quick and easy it was to do. It took the man, you know, it probably took him longer to find all the tools than it did to do it, right? To be fair. But the reality is, guys, next week we're going to have none other than Jevries on the show at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Whether you choose Facebook Live or YouTube Live, we're going to be on either platform for you guys. We're going to be able to talk to Jevries, the man himself. We're going to interview him. We're going to get the whole story of how he came to be. We're going to hear about how he was a little kid and he looked at all the RC people in his neighborhood and he wanted to be like them, but he wanted to be different because he's a lowrider fan. Listen, I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. You guys are going to have to come and join us next week, 5 p.m., Wednesday, Pacific Standard Time, YouTube Live or Facebook Live. We're going to go at it. It's going to be a long show, and we hope to see all of you guys there. Don't miss out. It's going to be a great episode, and we finally get to talk to the man himself, so that's always fun also. What size upgraded steering servos do you recommend on the Ridge Rock crawler? So the Ridge Rock, I believe still uses the 5-wire, doesn't it? Or is it still 3-wire?
I don't know. I haven't looked at that one yet.
Danny, reach out to me separately. Let me do some research, and I'll tell you what I'd recommend based off that, because I don't want to give you a recommendation for you to go and spend some money that may not work for you. Let me double check some things, and I'll get back to you, brother. Always reef servos, always, but I want to make sure I recommend the right one. It's still a 5-wire, yeah, so you're not going to be able to run a reefs at that point. You're going to have to run something that's still a 5-wire capable servo. So with that said, guys, we have a quick tidbit. A lot of you guys saw that we dropped but that Dixxon Flannels collaborative ep.64 dropped this last week. And a lot of folks are starting to get it, and it's starting to arrive. And a lot of folks are kind of stunned by the fact that the car came in at an introductory price, and people were like, "Whoa, dude, that's way too expensive. I could buy the OG one for a lot less." Well, take into consideration, guys, that the car itself did come with some chrome and gold updates. Now, if you were to itemize all of these things individually, it would cost more than what the asking price is of the car now. On top of that, they're already installed, and the car already comes as a convertible. I saw a lot of folks out there starting to say, you know what, man, it's not a builder's car. You know what I'm saying? Build yours, build, not bought. But you know what, guys? That's great. I appreciate that. I love that passion. But take into consideration, not everyone is a builder. And not everyone is an OG like yourself in the hobby. And you may need the assistance of buying one that is already done. So keep that in consideration, guys. That's why even with crawlers, right, you have the crawlers that come ready to run. Your boy never buys ready to run. I buy kits. I like to build kits. So I understand where you're coming from. I am a builder by sense, and that's what I love to do. That's where my passion is with the hobby. But not everyone is I have to understand that not everyone is going to fit into that same mold. So let's not bash anyone for wanting to buy something that is already done. I think that's very commendable, and I commend Dixxon Flannel for pairing up with us and collaborating in this venture. It is a limited run. Only what they have in inventory is what they have. At this point, it looks like it's somewhere I don't even know the number off the top of my head, but I know that it's a limited number and only that number is going to be available, and then they're gone. So for all of you guys that are thinking about it and looking at the price point and wondering why the difference in the price point is what it is, it's literally in the parts and in the labor of bringing you guys a car that is essentially all done. The chrome kit is already installed in the car. That's what, 45, 50 bucks for the gold kit. Then you add all of these trinkets, that's another 100 and some bucks just in trinkets alone, plus the wheels, that's another 50 bucks. So it all adds up, right? Trust me when I say the value is there. It just may not be for everyone. All right, with that said, guys, you should know that the Dixxon flannel car is exclusively only available at www.dixxon.com. Not available through Redcat. Dixxon's the ones selling the product at this time, but we are still the same Redcat that is offering you guys the online support and phone support. So if you have any problems with any of your Redcat products, we like to always stand behind our products with our 1-year limited warranty. Never hesitate to give us a call or go on the website and file a claim if you have a claim that's doable for your vehicle. I love it. The American Off-Road RC. We build crawlers and buy RTRs. It's all RC fun. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I love to hear, brother. Thank you for that. So guys, with that said, going into next week, right? I told you guys, don't go anywhere. 5 p.m. next week. It's going to be big, right? We know this because something hot is coming, right? You saw Jevries release that. I shared it with you guys last week. And in response to that, I wanted to prepare Jevries for his trip to Arizona. I wanted him to ride in style. I wanted him to cruise with comfortable cushion-like feelings on his feet. So I made him a personal set of Crocs, and they're the True 13s on there, all right? I got his plaque on it, and they're legit. My boy's gonna be taken care of. When Jevries arrives, I roll out the red carpet. So I got my boy his own Crocs. It's a limited edition, 1 of 1. I even signed them for him, so it's gonna be legit, all right? And with that, now we're getting ready, to bring Jevries in. He should be arriving sometime next week. We're gonna have a great time with them on the show. And I had to, kind of do what I do, right? Like I'm originally from East Oakland, so I'm a slapper warrior. And if you don't know what that means that when you're out and about, you get your stickers and you're slapping them everywhere, right? Because you want to have your stickers seen. Well, I kind of thought that it'd be kind of cool to put a sticker on a sticker. So I'm just preparing the desert for Jevries. I'm just saying, like, I'm ready. Arizona's ready, Jevries. Arizona's waiting for you, okay, bro? So don't play me, bro. Come hang out with us. It should be a good time. And just so you know, next week's episode, for all you RC Lowrider fans, you 64 fans, you Monte Carlo fans, it's a Jevries authorized vehicle only zone. So, you know what I'm saying? Keep in mind, this image right here got me in trouble. It got me a ticket, and I had to go take that sticker off, but your boy did it. I was a rebel. What? I'm ready. Jevries, my boy, I'm waiting for you. Can't wait to see you. Safe travels on your way here. It should be a blast. All right. Let me double check last call for comments. Hey, that Croc game, right, dude? I'm telling you. Can you imagine, bro, like coming in and like doing a little sea walk with the Crocs on True 13s, bro? Maybe get some twisted spokes. I'm telling you, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. It's all fun and games. It's going to be a great show. Guys, again, don't forget, next week, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, the Redcat channel. Make sure you stop by. We're going to have none other than Jevries, the man, the myth, the legend, and we're going to go over a great interview with him. And who knows, we may even share something that is hot and coming at the same time. I don't know. It just depends on what he wants to do. I'm following his rules. I'm following, his scope of the day, what he wants to do. If he doesn't want to go live, then you know what? We may go live at the bowling alley. That may be what he wants to do. It's up to my boy. You know what I'm saying? So guys, I appreciate you. I hope the rest of you guys have a great week. Shane, thank you so much for stopping by, sharing with the guys what you do, and sharing This very simple mod that you guys can do at home with very minimal tools that gets you a little bit more steering angle on your Marksman. I'm happy, I'm proud. I'm now actually really excited because I was nervous that this wasn't going to go well streaming on multiple platforms, but here we are on 2 platforms and I am juiced that it didn't crash. That sounds kind of bad, but it's legitimate. So guys, from all of us here at Redcat to all of you, we appreciate you guys. Much love. You guys stay safe, and we will see you guys next week, 5 p.m. Don't go nowhere. I'm telling you, it's going to be wild. Peace.